Hello, welcome to Blood Moon Oracle for the encouragement of the day. Um, and so this is actually going to be the encouragement of the week, but I'm doing it today, midweek, at energy check-in. Following this video will be just a little um, resource to complement the reading here. And so let's take a look. Welcome to Blood Moon Oracle, where we're taking a look and tapping into the energies midweek. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you have not and you're running across this video. Um, Blood Moon Oracle is the channel. All of that helps to grow the channel, and I'm so appreciative for every bit of energy you send my way. I'm sending it back to you multiplied. And so this is a general reading, but if you're looking for a personal reading, you can hit me up. My email here, also down in the link, I always put my calendar. And so if you feel called, I'm here, okay? But let's take a look. We're looking at the encouragement of the day. And so let's get started. I did lay out my cards for the sake of time. I'm using my favorite, my Crow Oracle deck that always seems to just hit on point for me. What came out was distraction. Give you a really good look at that. Self-interest. It's really a beautiful deck. You know, it's always amazing how people can take something that's very mundane, like say crows, and actually do such a beautiful job at looking at the inner parts of their existence, right? Because we just see them as part of creation, part of nature, but they're actually very interesting creatures. And from that, she actually was able to tap into um, parts of the nature of crows and relate them to our experiences, right? That's why I love this deck. And so, perspective, memory, self-interest, and distraction came out. And so, with the oracle cards that came out, it almost feels like there is something happening in this moment. Whatever that thing that's happening is very important. It's tantamount, right? What's taking place or what's happening, what's drawing attention. It's so important that it's causing all kinds of things to happen, you know, within us, within our inner lives, our inner existence, how we're perceiving things and responding to things right now. There's like a shakeup in the energy right now. Not everybody could be taking it, well. Not everybody can take change well. But there's something happening. There's a shift, or not even a shift. There's like a playing out of something in the energy right now that's causing some level of distress. And if we're not careful, that distress can be amplified. If we're not aware and conscious, it could be amplified and multiplied instead of understanding the importance and the necessity of this moment. Because there is an evolution that naturally takes place, and we're part of that. We don't cause it, but we're a part of the evolution that's taking place. And so let's take a look. I feel like that's part of what's coming out in this message today with distraction, right? As you can see, as we look at the dog his attention is being called by this bird that's in the tree, but it's purposeful because it's distracting the dog while the other bird comes along and steals the food out of the dog bowl. And it was clarified by the Fool, followed by the Eight of Cups. There is a major upgrade that's happening right now in the energy. a major upgrade. The Fool followed by the Eight of Cups means that there is change, a radical change, a new beginning that actually is going to send us into a an advancement of some kind. And it almost feels like it's going to be an advancement for society overall when it comes to awareness and what we're giving our attention to when we look at this distraction here. There could be lots of things that are pulling at us right now, not wanting us to see or to acknowledge what's happening right now. Nevertheless, it's happening. It's happening for some of us right before our eyes. But there could be little things that have our attention. So we may not necessarily see what's right before our eyes, right? Because we're being distracted. But this is pretty major with this Fool clarified by the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is a card that talks about moving up in some type of way, or no longer having any type of use out of where we are. We have but exhausted everything that is usable where we are. It's almost like we have no place to go but up. Now, being that the Ace followed the Fool, this is definitely being shot into that energy, a new beginning that's sending us into a whole new experience, something that is evolving, taking us to a higher level of existence, right? And it's happening right now. It's happening. No matter how we are, no matter how the energy tries to come in and bewilder or tries to throw our attention elsewhere, it's still happening, whether we see it or not, whether we realize it or not, whether we're distracted or not. This is happening. We also have self-interest coming out here. As you can see, the bird flying there, taking the food, and then all the other birds are just kind of looking for food. And it was clarified by the Page of Swords and followed by the Hermit. This feels like a time, it really feels like a time where Spirit is really talking about, and I'm hearing man up. It's almost like it's time for us to really step up into the energy of responsibility. However that plays out, and not wait for people to come along and teach us or come along and show us. It's time to really become aggressive when it comes to what it is that we can and what we need to do, what we need for ourselves. See, the Page of Swords is it's a beginning energy. Swords can talk about this childlike energy. It could also talk about just learning something new. Pages are very fresh at a job or a skill, learning something. They're very fresh. And then Swords talks about thinking, right? This could be learning a new way of thinking, but this is talking about thinking for yourself. Finding and seeking wisdom for yourself. I feel like this is really a time where we can't wait for people to bring us truth or what it is that we need to make happen, what we need to see, what we need to understand about our experience. Like the Hermit goes and seeks for himself. The Hermit is a rather wise energy. Usually it's pertaining to someone who's older and more mature. someone who knows how to go in and connect with their source and get what they're needing when it comes to wisdom or direction. And many times that's the one that's bringing it back to everyone else, right? I always kind of think of the hermit as, um, this act that happened as Moses went up to the mountain and got the information and brought it back down to the people. That's an archetype, but it's almost like that kind of energy. It's very self-sufficient energy that's not waiting on anybody to do anything. There's a connection and you hear that connection. And so I feel like this is definitely calling us to step up into that energy. That has a lot to do with knowing how to connect with source for ourselves, right? We also have memory. It has a lot to do with being able to think for yourself and to critically rationalize information that you're pulling in for yourself. It's almost like that saying, no longer being on milk, but being able to eat meat. Or when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but now that I'm a man, I think and act like a man or a woman. There's a bit of a maturity here that we're being called to when it comes to how we think and how we see things and how we rationalize for ourselves and how we seek information and wisdom concerning our experience. We also have memory here. That's clarified by the Hierophant, followed by the Eight of Swords. And so this is something that's coming back up, something coming back up from the past that is either freeing people radically, something's coming back up from the past that could be causing people to feel like they're being placed in some kind of bondage, right? I guess it depends on who's actually aware of this memory being brought up and how they're relating to it. Now, the Hierophant is having something to do with institutionalism or history. It has something to do with tradition. It's almost like we're talking about institutions. We're talking about some type of way that's been widely accepted by everybody, like a mainstream thought or idea or way of being or happening or situation. And there's something about the past, I feel like, that is being brought back up. And this truth is shaking things up. Because when this comes up, it almost has like a traumatizing effect. And that trauma could either be based on something that happened that possibly is just shocking and mind-blowing and disturbing, and it's being brought to light, or it's being confronted, it's being challenged, or this could also be something being brought back up so that it could be brought out into the light or brought to justice. And because of that, someone is being freed, right, out of this Eight of Swords energy. They're being freed and released from it. There's the level of, I feel like, justice that's at play here. But there's something to do with the past, something to do with structures. It could very well have to do with systems, that we operate in the world right now. And whatever that is causing a lot of triggers to happen within people. It's something to do with something from the past being brought back up, the memory triggering here. And then lastly, we have perspective. And perspective is being clarified by the Nine of Wands and the Eight of Wands. And yeah, whatever this is, that's the change, right? That's the change that's happening. There is a shift in the perspective because of this movement, because of this evolution that's taking place right now. People will be made to see things differently. It definitely has something to do with this, something being dug out of history, out of the past, and being brought back to the forefront. It's going to bring up old memories. It's going to bring up old wounds, right? It's going to bring up old contracts with the Hierophant here. But it's changing the perspective. With the Nine of Wands and the Eight of Wands, this has been long waited for, and it's happening quickly as well. Okay. But I feel like depending on where you are and how you're viewing this and where you are positioned in this history, right? That could determine how you're responding to this shift, to this evolution that's happening right now. But the encouragement today, let's see, that's what's coming out for me. And it's pretty interesting because even, as I've been going through this week, the energies are so thick. It's so heavy. It's raw. You ever had a very bad wound and you've been trying to heal it and you've been keeping it covered up, right? And then you pull the cover back and you're like, "Ugh, what is that?" It's almost like the cover has been peeled off of something and the wounds are open, right? Depending on your willingness to heal that, right? It could be painful, but it's necessary. Painful, but necessary. I feel like there's something that's been peeled back and it's opening a wound that's been covered and it hasn't healed. It's been covered and it's just been festering underneath that cover. And it's been pulled back so that it can finally be healed and addressed and cared for and nurtured, right? And so let me see. As I was saying, this week has been a difficult week for people. And if it's something that's unavoidable, right? And we're all handling it differently. Not everybody handles change well. Not everybody wants change. Some people may be very content with the way things are, but then there are those who want things to continue to be better, right? It's not enough to be where we are, especially when you've utilized all of the resources in this moment, all of the potential in this moment. As long as we are living, we're either growing and moving forward or we're recessing and dying. Okay. This is a moment of choice for many of us that either we're going to move forward and continue growing or we're going to recess and just kind of dwindle away. Right. And so let me see what the encouragement is. First, I want to ask, what is this moment? Because this is a difficult moment. Like I said, not everybody handles change well. There was a term that I learned in high school, and it was called future shock. And what that means is that some people won't accept the futuristic ideas. Like there are those who refuse to get a cell phone. They still have a landline. Who still has a landline, right? I mean, I think that's cool in case the power goes out and the computers go wonky. But, you have a landline and a cell phone, so you can be, on the go and talk. And then there are those that refuse to even have electricity, right? I'm sure there are those that are still living out in the wild somewhere, and they still light candles. They still, do everything by nature. I'm sure there are. There are tribes out there still undiscovered, but there's this thing called future shock that describes the attitude towards evolution. And it's the attitudes of those who refuse to evolve, right? They refuse to move forward as nature moves forward, right? And so there may be a little bit of that here, right? Especially for those who may feel very content in this moment, or they may not see anything wrong with this moment. But whether you see anything wrong with it or not, right, it evolves. Things evolve, whether we want them to or not. And so there's people that could be having a difficult time right now as things are evolving. That evolution could also have, something to do with things coming back around to be dealt with, coming back around to be resolved so that they can evolve, right? A lot about karma this week has been coming up for me, but not in the sense that we think of karma, right? We always tend to try to put karma on, the front burner or the back burner. It's either good or bad, but it's neither of those. It really is a continuous moving of energy, right? That's why they say what you put out comes back, because it's just energy. It's not biased. It's not good or bad. It's just constantly moving energy being recycled. And so that's part of being able to expand and evolve in this moment. There are things that need to come forward so that they can finally be resolved so we can move forward and evolve. That's what's happening right now. That is what's happening right now. And so let me see. Give us some more information, Spirit. What is this energy of evolution taking place? What is this energy of evolution taking place? Whew. So we have two kings coming out, the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. The King of Cups came out on the light side and the King of Pentacles came out on the dark side, right? What that tells me is that right now is a time where love is highlighted. Right now is a time where emotional stability, emotional cognitive functions being heightened and perfected and mastered are more important than money and accumulation of things and being very drawn and attached to our materials, right? We're in a material world, yes, and we do need to sustain that because we live in it in the physical realm, but there's something that's happening in our emotional realm that's actually changing right now. Let's see. Either way, there's mastery happening with these kings coming out. We're talking about high level energy right here. Two of Cups coming out. And the Eight of Pentacles on the shadow side. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. And so, like I said, with the King of Pentacles coming in on the shadow side, This is really talking about having all of our attention and focus on, you know, materialism, maybe even falling into the energy of illusion as well, or being just power hungry or money hungry, um, and putting that above everybody else, even when it comes to fairness, even when it comes to justice, even when it comes to love and the good of all, right? This energy is one of the energies that is coming up here. Spirit is saying this is the energy that is being dealt with, that's coming back around so that it can't be resolved. And remember, we're not talking about good or bad. Karma is not about good or bad, but this is about resolving something that is there, something that's in movement, right? We're resolving these energies. This is necessary, this energy coming up. There's something about this energy and not being able to see outside of this that's causing us not to be able to elevate. The resolving of this energy is important and it's necessary before we can move forward. Okay. There's something about this, having forgotten about what's important and traded that. We've traded that for materialism. We've traded that for um, physical things that have no spiritual substance. Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to plug my charger in. Okay, so I can see how it's necessary that that would still come back up here. And now when we talk about the King of Cups on the light side, we're talking about mastering creation, mastering our emotions, mastering even our mental faculties, our intuitive abilities, connecting with each other, you know, from a soul level perspective. The Two of Cups is soul connections. This is seeing eye to eye and becoming pliable, right, and workable with each other, wanting the good for each other, right? Um, and when that happens, you know, we talk about the King of Cups, it's talking about possibilities that are endless when that happens. This overflow of generosity becomes present and compassion and limitlessness, right? And so now when we take a look at this Eight of Pentacles, though, this Eight of Pentacles came in on the shadow side. And this is talking about a time where there's going to actually be a lot of work being put in. And this could be the time that we're in where we're putting a lot of work, a lot of energy, and, you know, a lot of hope towards things, like just pouring out an overflow of energy, you know, towards what it is that we want. That could talk about actually being willing to give our all for this change in this time. It's going to be some type of sacrifice here with this Eight of Cups coming in on the shadow side. Not only that, it talks about difficulties that may possibly arise in bringing this to pass. Not giving up when we hit the brick wall or hit failure, or things don't turn out the way that we thought they should turn out. Not giving up, but continuously working for it. I feel like this is talking about even past efforts, right? Not just right now, but even past efforts of trying to bring things into this state of being. When we look at different martyrs, that lived and died for what they believed in, for what they believed we were capable of accomplishing as humanity, right? But not stopping with the failure, right? And many of them died unrighteously. Like I said, they were martyrs for what they believed, but not stopping, continuing the work in spite of all of the difficulties that we've been met with. Not focusing on what has gone wrong, but daring to continue to move forward, to pick it up again and try it again. Um, any advice coming in today? And so if you just take a moment to just look around, you'll see it. You'll see not only the change coming in, but you're going to see the frustration too, right? You're going to see the pain that, could be present in the situation, the frustration, possibly even embedded in shame. There's something that's being dredged up from the past here, and it is causing a lot of pain, a lot of confusion. It's causing a lot of people to feel like they're being restricted or in some type of way, or like there's some proposal to restrict them, right? But in the advice, Spirit says Two of Wands on the shadow side, the sun coming out on the bright side, or on the shadow side as well, and then the Nine of Wands. So first of all, this is not giving up. The sun followed by, on the shadow side, followed by the Nine of Wands. We've already had the darkest days, right? Spirit is saying this is not the time to sit and wait for others to do things. This Nine of Wands, look how ready he is. Like, what part do you play in this? If you are a seer and you see the change that's happening, where are your wands? Wands represent action. It represents being a part of the change and bringing that to pass. Where is that? Where are you in that? Because we're not waiting, right? We're not waiting for people to make a move, but we're being led by our intuition and by our inner calling, right? Some of us are being led by our desire to alleviate the pain. But what are you being called to do? In the advice here, Spirit is asking that. And that doesn't mean look around and see what everybody else is doing. What are you being called to do? Because somebody else may be called to be way over there in left field. And you may not be able to understand their calling. You don't have to. But Spirit is asking each of us to consider that. What are you being called to do? How are you creating the energy that's conducive to the evolution of humanity? Okay. And when we look at the sun on the negative side, along with the Two of Wands, like I was saying, like there's a strain that's going on. With the sun and the negative, it's like this frustration setting in, just like, ugh, gnashing of teeth, and eager to see this change, or eager watching this change take place, anxious watching it take place as well, being exhausted, right? So exhausted to the point where you're just like, okay, what's next? It's a very critical time where it's almost just like a tipping over. There's nowhere else to go. It's just a tipping over. I don't even feel like there's a lot to put in towards this evolution. It's just about to tip over right now, right? It's just a matter of being ready when it tips to do what it is that's going to be useful in that energy when it does tip. And the sun in reverse is talking about this new energy that's going to arise as a result of that's happening. New experiences, new jobs, new relationships, or acquiring new skills that aren't average, right? It's tapping into the higher level of our being. This is also a time to grasp to what we know tightly as well. As we're growing and adding on, also grasp to what you know. Don't let that go. We're not trading what we know for this new thing, but we are being open, right, to what it is, to what's being unleashed right now. The sun in reverse or on the shadow side is also a time to, like I said, really be concerned with yourself, not really feeling like you have to impose yourself or your beliefs on others either. There's something about this time that we're in that we are being opened up to live, to live and let live, right? Because again, as I said, we're all being called to different things. We don't know, we really don't. And as time evolves and we evolve, many things are changing. I'm sure 100 years ago, there was no imagination of what we'd be doing today. It was inconceivable, but yet and still, we're doing it. And it's common, right? And so there's an evolution that's taking place that's opening us up. Spirit is calling us to be open to what's happening and aware. And it's difficult. It's difficult. And there's a part of this where we're being called to be responsible for our own part in this and not look over there or compare ourselves, you know. Yeah. Let go of anything that holds you down. Let go of anything that holds you down. And I'm talking more so spiritually, more so emotionally, more so mentally. And if there's things in the physical that hold you down too, like if you find it hard to part with your stuff, your money and your houses and your cars, I guess I'm talking about that too. But Spirit is saying travel light. Spirit is saying pack light because what's coming is going to be a purely spiritual ride. And if you're bogged down with a lot of things, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. And so the desire here is for evolution in all ways that we exist, in every way imaginable. I often talk about abundance not being just about money because it's not. Abundance is so much more than just money. Abundance is the ability to be peaceful in the middle of a riot or chaos. And you're sitting in the middle, just kind of drinking your Kool-Aid and just, abundance can be living your best life and only got $1 to your name because you understand that your worth is intrinsic. It's not outwardly measured, but it's by what you have, who you are, how you can bring joy to your situation and not look for joy in your situation, right? And so Spirit is really bringing the energy of evolution. I feel like it really is spiritual. It's experiential and it's beautiful what's coming. Now, ushering this in is a whole different ball game. That's what this is about. Ushering in this evolution. And so after this, I'm going to do just a little Reiki session. If you're interested, you can tap on that video as well. As I said, there's a lot of interesting energies. And, if you just need a quick pick me up, just something to let your hair down and relax and just enjoy, right? Come on by. Take a look at the resource after this too, okay? And enjoy it. It's for you. All right. What are you doing in the midst of this evolution? Thanks for stopping by. It's been Blood Moon Oracle. Until next time, take care. Make sure you like, share, comment. Let me know how it resonated, what you think. And if you're looking for a personal reading, again, Letty Speak without the S, LettiSpeak@gmail.com, or you can go down to my calendar and schedule there as well. Okay. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you all. Blood Moon Oracle here. Until next time, be encouraged. All right. This is the message for the week. The encouragement coming to you about these times. Bye.